If you're a parent who is tired of the wait and see approach and ready for a system over stress, you are in the right place. Welcome to Edu Steps. So before we get started, let me go ahead and welcome our founder, Festus Amoye. Festus, how you doing today?
Doing excellent. Thanks, Olay.
Awesome, awesome, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm doing really well. It's a good Sunday.
Good. Love to hear it. And also, of course, we have Dr. J with the finger roll, Dr. Jamarc Crawford. How you doing today, brother?
What's good? I'm doing good.
Good. Love to hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and let you, Crawford, I want you to introduce our guest for today, because we're going to be doing something a little different, something that we used to do back in the day, but finally we get a chance to, how do they say it? I can't think of the term. Flex our muscle a little bit. There you go. But go ahead and help me out, Dr. J, and introduce our guest today.
Got it. All the way from Bremont, Texas, we have my cousin, the one and only Trephanie Crawford, representing for her daughter Lyric, who is about to graduate from high school this upcoming May. Please welcome Trephanie Crawford.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford.
I could not have done that. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Trephanie. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for being here with us, and we thank you for taking that first step with us, relating your success. If you could just go ahead, give us a short little breakdown of where you are with your daughter Lyric, where you are as far as schooling, degree, paying for college, all that good stuff.
Okay, so we are currently at that stage of looking at finances. She has gotten an offer from University of Houston, University of North Texas, and also Texas Southern. Those were her top three. And all three, she has decided pretty much right now which one comes out the cheapest, because she doesn't have enough didn't receive any Pell Grant funds to cover tuition, not only tuition, but the housing, because two of those colleges are out of town, which are in Houston. One is 30 minutes up the road from us in Denton, Texas. So that's where we are now, just weighing our options of cost, looking at what I may have to pay out of pocket, what she can probably get loans for. We're not trying to pull out too much loans. So that's where we are. We also are right now considering community college as well now, because of what we received back from the financial aid award letters.
I love it. We got some facts now. This is really good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to turn it over to Festus. Unless you want me to go over something else, Festus, I'll let you go ahead and take over, and then we can take notes and discuss some things.
To me, I got my Kanye sway. You ain't got the answer, but
I got some answers. I don't have all the answers like you.
Chill out. You got some pretty good ones. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. We just wanted to make the most of it by, again, doing it live and working through some of the key things there. I think the most important thing out of everything is knowing why you're going to a particular school is really key, because then when you know what you want to do and you know why you're going where you're going, it then becomes a lot easier to make decisions based off of scholarships, make decisions based off of where to place your energy in. And the reality is, the closer the time is, the more important it is to make those decisions. And so we're going to just do a little bit of a walkthrough on a couple things, and then we could go into a little bit more detail. I know we went over some things both directly through Crawford and then also through the WhatsApp group. Was that helpful, the WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so what we'll do is we'll flip to this. Okay, we're gonna just talk about being, knowing, doing, right? Being is about character, values, and principles. Knowing is about what resources are available and how to use them. And then doing is executing with excellence. And so this being, knowing, doing is really important in terms of choosing a school, right? Because if the school, the campus, the culture doesn't really fit who Lyric is, and also understanding her contributions to that campus and that culture is going to be a mismatch. And when there's mismatch and misalignment, then it's okay. That's where students disenroll, they disengage from campus. And obviously freshman year is really difficult on everybody because everybody's trying to adjust. And so that's really important from the being standpoint. The knowing standpoint is really important because between who she is and where she's going to campus also determines who she needs to get to know. So who on campus is important for her long-term success. It's funny because nowadays there's a lot of talk about, oh, should you go to college? Should you not go to college? Get blue-collar jobs and all those different types of things. And a lot of college graduates aren't finding work when they graduate. And also their estimate on what their income is totally different. And so that's why it's really important for her between who she is and what she wants to know to get to know some people who could help her on those things. And that's why we do the WhatsApp group, because most of the people in the WhatsApp group are in similar stages in life. And so that's really, again, really important, because one of the big mistakes a lot of students make, especially if they're first gen non-traditional students, is they get on campus and they just try to look for friends and party people. And don't get me wrong, it's really important to find friends. It's really important. Are they finding long-term friends that are going to be supportive throughout their career? Because college is way more now about relationships than it is about the information. The information on campus is everywhere. We have ChatGPT, YouTube. I went to a private institution. Our tuition was, when I got there, was $36,000 a year. When I left, it was $43,000 per year. And I remember our professors showing us YouTube videos. And I was like, what are we doing here? I could have watched that at home. I didn't have to drive all the way here to watch YouTube videos. And so what that tells you is, it tells you, number one, the means by which information is spread and disseminated is almost a level playing field. So when you go to these campuses and they have all the glitz and the glam and the big football team and this stadium and that stadium, that's what you're actually paying for. You're not paying for the information. You're not, even the degree itself, the piece of paper, you're not paying for that. And so this takes a real psychological shift for parents, because it's okay, I want my kid to get the best education. And sometimes we go based off of what we see than the intangible things that are there. And so the intangible things are the depth of relationships with professors who are working on grants, who are working on certain projects, certain institutions, the depth of those institutions within the community, things like that. That's why this being and knowing is really important, because when she gets into college, that's where she could say, hey, look, I know this professor recommended me for this scholarship, or they recommended me for this program, or they recommended me for just different opportunities on campus, which then either reduce her student loan burden or increase the opportunity of her making a higher income or an income when she graduates from college. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so then between knowing, there's doing. And so between what she ultimately wants to know and what she ultimately wants to do, that determines the courses she needs to take, that determines what clubs she needs to join, what opportunities she needs to seek. Because between what she wants to know, or what she does know, or who she knows, and what she does, that's the real action steps. And so I believe her major was business marketing, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And finding the right clubs and the right opportunities while she's on campus is really important, because it might be something as little as, for example, the campus radio. So a lot of people don't know that for example, University of Houston supports NPR radio. And so when you look at that, you say, oh, wow, NPR is pretty much a national chain, or radio chain. And it's okay, I wonder if I could get in their marketing department for the radio station. A lot of people don't realize that's how a lot of radio is supported, college radio, like KTSU, for example. They're one of the only radio stations that plays jazz in the local area. So anybody who tunes into jazz, you have to think, okay, who listens to jazz? People who listen to jazz generally are a little bit more intelligent, cognizant. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody else, but just the kind of person. So then if she seeks opportunity there, it tells you who she's going to already align with, right? So that's just a way of thinking about knowing and doing. And then again, between doing and being, that's who she are. That's who she is, who she's becoming, how she's developing as a person. And we're going to slide over here because we're going to talk a little bit about post-secondary options, and then we'll get into paying for college. So when it comes to what a person is going to do after high school, there's only really 6 options: college, community college, tech or trade school, military work, start a business, or she could stay at home with you. You're supposed to laugh. Okay. Yeah, that's that nervous, not really laugh, right? You want to have her pick the option that fits who she's becoming, her character, her values, and her principles, who she wants to be, right? And so as she's making the determination on how much education she needs, does she need to get certified or a certificate or a license? Does she need an associate's degree for that, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate? Also, what is the industry doing, right? So certain industries are moving away from degrees, and they're moving more into portfolio and previous work done. And so that's something to consider, right?
Hey, LYS fam. It's Olay. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show, because you know it's some good topics.
Depending on the field she's looking to go into, because with business and marketing, that's really broad. And you could do that for oil and gas. You could do that for healthcare. You could do it for tech. There's so many different options in which she can explore that career. And so this is why it's really important for her to know which options best fit her, whether even if it is community college versus a 4-year college. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of time we don't make those decisions due to stigma, right? And so I'm going to pause for a second to see if you have any questions or anywhere I could provide clarity.
No questions at the moment.
Okay, perfect. What about you guys? Crawford, Olay?
Nah, no questions.
No, not yet. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So then we're going to pivot to just developing a strategy here. And so what's the strategy? Depending on where she's going, college costs anywhere between $15,000 to $40,000 a year. Community colleges they're usually capped around $3,500 to $5,000 a year. Tech or trade school, they can go between $3,000 to $15,000 a year, depending on which option she's looking at. And so let's hop more into waivers, exemptions, and other. And so this was something I talked about with Crawford, but I think is a good place for us to talk and going with you. I know in the WhatsApp group, you did a post regarding the Cougar Promise. And so hopefully, obviously, she qualifies for the Cougar Promise now. So that's good. I know the final question there is, how much money will she get allotted? And to me, it looked like about $2,000 a year. And so this is where you got to get your calculator out regarding that amount. Did you get any clarity from them? Was it $2,000 a year? Was it less? Was it more?
So when I called the financial aid office, I spoke with 2 different reps. One rep said that I had to sign some kind of waiver in order for them to speak with me. Then I had her call, and the rep stated that they didn't see it online yet, that it takes about 2 weeks for them to see it. But we stated that she did receive the email, and she said usually, she didn't say what exactly amount she's going to get, but it's yearly. It's not every semester. So it can be between 500 to 2,000, because I was trying to figure out in my head, trying to calculate, okay, tuition is 56, and then take off 2,000, they'll leave what? Let me get my calculator out. They'll leave a few 3,000 for me to either pay 1,300 for me to pay out of pocket, or wait on whatever scholarship she may have to get approved for. So I'm thinking that covers tuition. So we were just worried about the housing costs part of it now.
Okay.
All right, hold on, Festus, real quick. I need to say this. So the way college works, Lyric is, or the student, for anybody who's watching, the student is going to have to do the talking unless you have a FERPA on file, because the institution is not required to talk to you as the parent. That's why it's important to have Lyric even here, or to have those conversations. Now, you as the parent could be in the background to help her to listen, but the school is not going to talk to you because they're dealing directly with the student, although it is based on your income, even though
Right.
she's in it. Just keep that in mind. This is where it's going to be important for Lyric to learn to advocate and speak up for herself. Now, unless you go through the process that's necessary to get a FERPA on file, then they can talk to you.
Correct. Yeah. And it depends on who answered the phones too, because I spoke with financial aid officer at Texas Southern, and 2 times before at University of Houston, they spoke with me. It just depends on who's answering the phone.
No, they broke protocol. So it's not depending on who answered the phone. Let me be very clear. They are not supposed to speak to you. Now, if they do, they broke protocol. So I would not say their names on this. I would not say the names on the institution on this call.
Thank you for that, Crawford. Okay. And that's really important, because I think one of the things that, again, come to parents paying for education is knowing what you're paying for. And unfortunately, because of a lot of and this is the thing, I'm not trying to, I know this could be a controversial statement. There's a lot of people who come across as student or child rights advocates who actually end up putting caring parents in a bind. And the way that the caring parent is put into a bind is because when they want to take action for their student, there have been laws passed that prevent them from being able to be as involved. And it's just kind of like one of those situations, but I don't want to labor that too much. Let's get into some of the credit by experience, credit by exam things. Okay. So this is where it's really important to know which school you are going to. Okay. So one of the reasons it's important to know which school you're going to is because each school has their own set of policies and procedures that are guided by their handbook. And one of the things that Crawford and I talked about that relates to her situation in terms of saving money is credit by exam. Okay. And so credit by exam simply means that rather than going to campus and taking a class to get credit, she can take a test and get credit for that class. Okay. There's pros for doing this. There's cons for doing this. What are the pros for doing this? Those credit by exam tests are usually $90. So instead of paying $3,000 or $4,000 for a class, she could pay $90 for a test and get credit for that class. So you're saving several $1,000s. Okay. So that's one of the big pros. Another big pro for doing this is you're saving time, right? Because time is actually the most precious thing we all have, right? And so instead of her taking classes where she is very strong in those subjects, she could just test out. Okay. And so that's a big thing. Now, what are the cons for this? Really and truly, the only real big cons are sometimes that a person can want more of the college experience. But the thing that people don't understand, the longer you are on campus, the more expensive it gets, period. The longer you are on campus, the more expensive it gets. So there's a lot of strategy that can be employed to save on tuition costs, because this is the thing that a lot of people don't think through. They think of I got this scholarship, I got that scholarship. Now I only need to pay $3,000. But the average student is on campus or in college for 4 years if they're quick, to 6 years. It usually takes 5 to 6 years on average to graduate with a 4-year degree. So that tuition amount that's left over should be multiplied between 4 to 6, depending on how many credit hours are required for that degree. And so this is where testing out of courses is really key, because you could save several $1,000s. And this is not a scholarship thing. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to go and fill out and wait and hope. This is just paying. And so what I pulled up here was Texas Southern University's admissions credit by examination chart. So these are the things she could get credit for without having to take a class. And so this is really important, because these, for example, this is CLEP. And so CLEP, we'll go into that in a little bit. And then there's AP, and then there's IB, which is International Baccalaureate. Okay, so depending on the class that she'll be taking or is required to take will determine exactly where they take that credit from. So if she's taking any AP classes, she could get credit for those. If she's taking any CLEP, which is, again, the test I was talking about, classes, she could get credit for those. And this is the exact chart that the school uses to determine what gets credit and what doesn't get credit. Okay. Again, a lot of the basic level freshman classes can be tested out on. Okay. So we're going to come back here, and then we're going to go to actual CLEP, which is the organization that does the credit by exam. And here you could look at Texas Southern. This is the information. Obviously, you've already registered there, but they go kind of line by line based off of how many credits they offer, right? Here's the class name. Here's the credits, the minimum score. If she gets a 55 on that test, she gets three hours. We'll just look at business law, since she's looking at business and marketing. So again, the test is $97. You'll pay the $97. You'll register at a test center, and then you'll then take the test, right? And so this gives you the full outline of what is on the test. So there's things she could just study for before taking the test, and then go and take the test. And so that's going to save you several $1,000s right there. Okay.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay once again. You know, these days, many families are busy, but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast.
Any questions, comments, concerns about this?
Any other? So we just go to the university website and ask for this form.
No, you could just go. You could just go on this website yourself. You just do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, because the university is basically saying, "Hey, this is what we accept from them," and based on their policies. So you don't want to just start taking classes that they don't accept, because then they're just going to say, "Oh, we don't accept those." So you just want to make sure there's alignment with what they accept, but also what is required for her major. So then you're taking things that are required for her major.
Okay.
And so I'll put this in the chat, the link here. And so again, this is where making your decisions, you have to make your decision on, is it going to be U of H for sure? Okay, cool. We dive in, we know exactly what's going on there, and then we can take the credit by exam at that particular school. Okay. So there's that. So then the next thing, which we talked about briefly, was waivers, was campus waivers. And so the waiver policy is a little bit difficult, But I want to go into a couple things real quick before we get too deep into waivers. So I'll look at this thing called TASFAA. Okay, so TASFAA is basically Texas's financial aid application. Okay, so typically most students fill out FAFSA and they end it right there, but then there's also a TASFAA application. Okay, TASFAA, and see if it's already aligned for your FAFSA information to go to TASFAA. Because what ends up happening is, and this is generally is like immigrants, dreamers, stuff like that, that end up needing TASFAA and using TASFAA. Okay, so I'll stop there and then I'll go back into waivers because those two things go hand in hand, right? Okay, if you look at each school, there are tuition and fee waivers, and some of the tuition and fee waivers that possibly would apply to her are really going to be, I think, for dual enrollment. Okay, and let's see here. See, most of these don't apply because she's not in foster care. She doesn't have any of these disabilities. So I don't think that these would apply to her as much. Okay, but there's between community college and the four-year college. Did you know which community college she's going to go to?
We're looking at Collin Community.
You said Cullen?
Yeah, Collin.
Okay.
Collin. It's in McKinney, Texas.
Let's see. I'm going to spell that. Okay, cool. Okay. So looking at Collin College in McKinney, there's several tuition waivers focusing on dual credit students, veterans, and high need groups. Okay. So basically, if she was on free and reduced lunch for dual credit, in district tuition, and then dual credit advantage program in Hazelwood. Okay. So if she was eligible for free or reduced lunch, or she was on dual credit, they have tuition waivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. So it looks like the waiver would be $65 per credit hour for what they charge. And so this would be, there we go. This would be pretty important. Is this their logo? Can you see that? Is that their logo?
Yes, that's their logo.
All right, perfect. Okay, no, that's not it. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too helpful. This site, we're going to go back. Do you see her high school here?
I'm looking. I don't see it. It's little M.
Okay. It's a normal public school.
Yes.
Okay, it's probably because it's a normal public school. Usually for this kind of thing, they're looking at charter schools or schools that aren't necessarily associated with a district to create these kind of unique things. So I would reach out to one of them, to one of these administrators, just to see what the waivers would look like, the potential waivers would look like. And so this is if, for example, she says, okay, I'm going to enroll in Collin, and then I'm going to enroll at U of H at the same time. And I'm going to take a couple classes at Collin, and I'm going to take a couple classes or a full semester at U of H. In your initial semester, it's wise and important to do that, or your initial few semesters. It might be a little bit overwhelming, but it's important to do that because let's say, for example, you take 1 or 2 online classes. The cost of the tuition is so far different. And so you'll have to do this math is to say, what is their tuition? Again, we looked at it roughly maybe $3,000 to $5,000 versus the tuition at University of Houston. And then you have to do an assessment of, okay, if you're going to University of Houston, again, when you get into the marketing classes and things like that, you need to engage with the professors there. You need to engage with the tuition, what do they call it? Teaching TAs. What's TA? Crawford is teaching assistant, right? Teaching assistant. But you need to engage with them. Okay, I know this is a lot of information, so I'm going to stop there. And what I would ask is that you would just continue to look into this information And then as you guys progress and you guys start knocking things off and you make some decisions, just reach back out in the WhatsApp group, and then we could pick up from there once you guys have made some more decisions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'm putting 2 things in the chat for you. Make sure you take these with you. And please do, you can put it in the chat in the WhatsApp group, how much money you think you're going to save based off of all the strategies and things like that. Sometimes parents think we're scamming or something like that when we just want to help their kids and help them. So what's going to happen here? Olay, I'm going to pass it back to you, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Festus. Trephanie, just real quick, what'd you think of the information? Did you find some of that to be helpful?
I did, because I did not know about the CLEP exam. So yeah, that was very helpful, and definitely we'll be looking into that to see where we can save a little bit more money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a couple of things I had on my notes. Now, I believe, was it the major, was it going to be accounting with a minor, or a double in marketing, or a marketing with a minor in accounting?
Yeah. Accounting with a minor in marketing, I believe.
Okay, cool. I think one of the things also, and Festus, you can speak to this too if you'd like, is in regards to scholarships, looking into the professional associations, especially locally, having to do with accounting. Festus made a great point a couple of weeks ago on one of our episodes where he talked, those organizations are looking for future members who are dedicated to the craft. And especially as we jump into this new age with AI and things, I think if she starts applying to those things, I think those can be really beneficial. Another thing that I noticed that was based off of the numbers that you gave, I think something that's going to be a very good value benefit is if she looks for a really good internship around her sophomore year. I think that's really going to help, because one of the questions I was going to ask is, how far are you from U of H or TSU because of that housing cost? But since you're closer to Denton, it's justified that she's going to have to go there if she does choose to go to U of H. So I think offsetting that amount that she's going to have to pay there is going to be really beneficial to look into a really good internship program. Let me see if I had anything else. Festus already talked about it. I put mini masters down. I think that's what Festus was referring to. Man, if I could go back, I'd do so many mini masters. Those mini masters are awesome. And so that's one community college was calling. I'm not sure if you did a search for other community colleges in your area, but definitely take a look and see if there are other community colleges, especially online courses that she can take. It's a great point by Festus. And then, of course, Festus also talked about institutional aid, making sure you have a good relationship with the financial aid department. I love what you said, Dr. Crawford, about making sure that you talk to the school so that you have the ability to speak on her behalf. That was really good. And so that's pretty much everything I had. I think Festus did what he does. So there's no worries there. We'll be sure to give you a copy of this podcast and the notes that we have so you can hold on to those things. And if you could just send a message on the WhatsApp group and let them know we're not charlatans. We're really trying to help. So if they got any questions, be sure to engage with Esther's on Fire. And so just thank you so much for being with us today. Anyone else have anything? Dr. J, thank you again. Do you have anything you want to drop?
Nah, I don't.
Yeah. All right. Trephanie, once again, we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. Just want to say thank you for taking that step, taking that initiative to work with Lyric to get started on this. Because you've done this, I don't want you to look at this lightly. You have set yourself and your family light years ahead of so many other people because you're getting started right now. And so I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you. I thank you. I hope Lyric appreciates what you're doing, because you're doing something just so beneficial, so powerful for not just you, but for Lyric and for your family. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Oh, always. All right. Whenever you want, Trevor, you come in and join us. First part of our podcast is about the meetings. All right. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For Ms. Trephanie, for Dr. J, for Festus, my name is Olay Shorunke. Thank you so much for joining us on this latest episode of Edu Steps. If you like what you heard, Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you have a question, a comment, a concern, put it in there, engage with us so we can help you out as well. What we did came from a place of realness, a place of struggle, and we want to make sure that the next generation does not have to deal with those things that we did. As I used to always tell my little brothers, I want to go through the hard things so you don't have to go through them as I did. So I hope we get a chance to help someone, and I think we did, but hope we get a chance to help more. All right, Festus, go ahead and hit us with the phrase of pace.
So listen, y'all, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Edu Steps, powered by Laddering Success, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All righty. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much, Trephanie. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Hope to talk to you soon.